during the break, I was Googling some of Sting's best matches, and some I totally agree with and some I don't.
Okay. But here's the thing, Tommy. Right off the top of your head, give me like some of your Sting's greatest matches. Right off the top of your head.
Him Flair Bash at the Beach, him versus Cactus Jack, Sting Muda, highly an awesome match for its time. Luger and Sting versus the Steiners, Future Shock. For a lot of what you're talking about, Dave, has been bad booking. If you
Yeah.
really think about, and this comes through Eric Bischoff, hey, we didn't know what to do with the guy. So we sat him home. And then we came up with the Crow stuff. And it was a great thing that you did for the guy's career. Plus, he got paid to sit home for a year and just come to TVs. He didn't even have to come because they had a fake one.
Yeah.
I mean, those moments were so unique and different, when we had the fake Sting and like pulling off the Crow's mask and all that stuff. It was much, much different times. Again, happy to see Sting and Flair reunite on TBS. And, I think one thing that AEW is doing correctly is, also if you're a fan of the All Japan era of 6-person matches or multi-person matches, which I am star-studded, um, you know, they're doing a great job of why would people tag together instead of, hey, let's just throw all these icons out there or throw these people together. Why would somebody, having Sting go to Edge or even the stuff they're doing with MJF and the Acclaimed, it's this long drawn out each and every week where, and if you're listening, the fans are buying into it.
Yeah.
Um, they're making you invested in their storylines. But if you really think about it with Sting and what Sting has done, when we talk about longevity of how many moments and how many years this man has made us care about him. When you talk about all the bad booking and all the stuff associated with him, but we've still always loved this character called Sting for a long, long time. And his career was made by Ric Flair. And when you're getting a surprise for me, and that's why I said, like, hey, man, I've booked shows in Philadelphia for a long, long time. When you're getting Ric Flair walking that aisle one last time, or one more time, I should say, and it's a complete surprise where you're just like, huh? It's a moment. And who knows when we ever have these moments ever again. May have it next week, may have it Saturday in Mohegan Sun. I don't know if Sting works Collision, but Dynamite's got me interested in where they're going because, hey, will Edge do something with Sting?
Well, we saw a face to face with Sting and Edge last night on Dynamite, but you mentioned Ric Flair, and as anyone that's ever listened to this show more than 5 minutes knows that Ric Flair is my all time favorite and to me the greatest of all time. What is Ric Flair's future in AEW? Because at first I thought it was just like, hey, here comes Ric Flair as a present, an acknowledgement from Tony Khan to Sting, maybe seeing him, being in the audience or at ringside for his last match in March at Revolution. What do you think, Tommy, we're going to see from Ric Flair moving forward?
I think he'll be in Sting's corner. I don't think we'll see Ric Flair wrestle. I don't want to see Ric Flair wrestle. I want to see Ric Flair represented the way Ric Flair is. And if somebody can feed for a chop, feed for a chop. He still has the gift of gab on the microphone. I like the way he was moving last night with his, woos. And, even through that one chop to Sting, it was a fun segment. And hopefully we continue with something like that. Um, you know, this I feel has been a long time in the making with
Yeah.
the Nature Boy coming to AEW. He's been friends with Tony Khan for a long, long time. And like I said, nice to see him, as well as, again, it's about moments. Don't know if you ever get those moments ever again. And we got till March. It's cool to see that. If I could also just kind of talk about another thing I think that's done great, because it reminds me of when Ric Flair was the champion during the Bash, MJF has been, the world title has been the main focus. He's got Kenny Omega. He now has Samoa Joe. He's got Jay White. He's got all these people vying after him, which reminded me of when, hey, Flair's going to wrestle Nikita. Flair's going to wrestle Dusty. Flair's going to wrestle Ricky Morton. Flair's going to wrestle this because everyone wanted a shot at the world title, which means that guy is the best, which means the world title is the biggest goal. Think about real sports, baseball World Series, hockey Super Bowl, hockey Stanley Cup, NFL Super Bowl, the NBA championship. These are what everybody plays for to get there. Because right now we have every sport vying, right now every sport is in. So what I'm trying to say is they're doing a great job with making MJF the most important man in the company. And I am really looking forward to MJF versus Kenny Omega and where they're going to go from there.
And like you said earlier about how they promoted next week's Dynamite, how they promoted Collision. Listen, you can't have a bigger match than MJF and Kenny Omega on Collision. I mean, I'm really, really happy that they are acknowledging the other shows, Tommy, and again, promoting those other shows. That's how you can get people to watch those other shows. And I know I'll be glued to my TV on Saturday watching Kenny Omega and MJF.
How could you not? It's honestly where, if you think back of when straight up fandom days, I believed Ricky Morton could beat Ric Flair. Then it was just like, wait, he's going to be wrestling Magnum? Wait, he's going to be wrestling Dusty? Wait, Nikita Koloff, where now I'm cheering for the guy that I hate? It was such an amazing time in the industry. And yes, they're working stadiums, not just, arenas. They're working stadiums, but that world title meant so much. And again, like I keep saying, that's elevating everybody when you're wrestling the champion. And you listen to the ovations MJF is getting. When him and Kenny had that face off, the people were like, wow, look at what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
It was there was so many different layers to that, from the match to having the run-ins, then to Kenny Omega. When we say we got a lot, but we also got a lot of good.
I agree. And you said about being a fan and fandom. Think about this, Tommy. In 2023, on WTBS, we had Sting, Tony Schiavone, and Ric Flair in the ring together. As a fan, as a 52-year-old man who's been watching pro wrestling for over 40 years now, to see on TBS Sting, Flair, and Schiavone, it really doesn't get much bigger and better than that. So how does that not put a smile on your face and just make you happy? How could I come on the air? Seriously, how could I come on the air, you come on the air, or anybody come on the air and nitpick shit and talk about the negative stuff? And when you saw Flair, Sting, and Schiavone in a ring on WTBS last night, it's very difficult for me as a fan to be able to do something like that.
I agree, as well as, just an overall really, really good show. Yes, I also love the acknowledgement of when Sting went to Adam Copeland and was just like, man, I had these blinders on. I get it. I ran with Lex Luger. I couldn't see it because if you're watched wrestling, remember Luger turned on Sting. Yeah. And it's all these hey, this guy was my best friend, but but also then think of Darby. I wish Darby wasn't hurt, but because he'd be such a key cog to all of this. But when you have Sting endorsing Darby, what Sting did for Darby is, man, took him to the next level, where it endorsed him, and he did it on the microphone as well. And even when, it's Sting was that young kid, and then he had this one wrestler come and put him on the map, and then that wrestler shows up.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And Speaking of Flair and Sting, Sting sold that chop from Flair like he did in 1988. All right, let's go out to
God, you're such an idiot.
let's go out. I'm sorry. I am. Bully's right. I am a passive aggressive asshole. Let's go
Yeah.
out to Joe in
And if
Pittsburgh.
Sting was on the show, Sting is one of the greatest of all time.
Oh God, here we go. LaGreca, you're going to bust a spring today at some point. I'm convinced that you're going to just blow a gasket. But I agree with you when it comes to Flair and Sting. Flair has made Sting that introductory of Sting, in wrestling. Flair made his career. It gave him a launching pad that a lot of professional wrestlers do not get in a major promotion. Now, I look back and I say, okay, that's probably the best match. I agree with Tommy Muda from '89, Starrcade. Rick Rude and him had a good match. Cactus Jack and him had a good match. But it always comes back to Ric Flair, and it's because of that longevity. Now, when you look at this, though, I think Harley Race did the same thing for Ric Flair. But when you look at Ric Flair's career and Sting and kind of that curve over time, when you look at Flair, what do you think in terms of nemesis? Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, or Sting? I always think of Sting because of how things progressed into a major company, to a major network. They were the last match of WCW. They've had their interactions on TNA, which I thought were quite comical at times, and then everything's come back around full circle. So I'll always say that Flair and Sting, are peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, Joe, I get that. It's just like our caller from Long Island, Justin, I called earlier, Joe. When you look at Sting, and it's kind of like with Major League Baseball with Cal Ripken, longevity. Being on top for a very, very long time. There's very few athletes, Tommy. Listen, Tommy, you're one of them too that just continues to do it. Like Sting, major player in Mid-South. Sting, major player in Crockett Promotions, NWA. Major player with WCW. Major player in TNA. When he went to the WWE for that brief time where they booked him completely wrong and made a shit show out of WrestleMania 31, he was on top. And even in AEW, icon and a star. Longevity, length of time, you have to take that stuff into consideration when you talk about the all-time greats.
I'm not the one arguing. I love Sting. I wanted to be Sting when I got into wrestling because he was so different, unique, and cool. And I mean, think about, for 1 year, you were invested in a man who at times wasn't even there. That means you're invested in this character when he wasn't in WCW. It was such an amazing time.
First and foremost, I want to say to you, I know this has been a long journey for you. You're somebody that just loves pro wrestling. It's really dominated your entire adult life. To see you just really thrive in the world of the WWE, which I know was definitely a dream of yours, man. You must be having the time of your life right now.
Well, I am, and I appreciate you saying that because obviously, I mean, now I started in the year 2000. It's almost 2024, so I've been doing it almost 24 years, and I didn't start with WWE till 2019. So 19 years is a long journey to get there. So for the past almost 5 years, it's been great, and now Tuesday, I've had a few matches in my NXT career, but this is my first scheduled singles match, and I'm telling you, it's like I don't even have to overthink it. It's like riding a bike. I'm just going to hop back in that ring and I'm just going to go. And I know that I feel like a lot of audience members might have forgot. I feel like a lot of people in the NXT and WWE locker might have forgot. But I'm going to be able to do this thing. Like it comes naturally for me. And Bron doesn't know what he's in for Tuesday.
I agree. From someone who has wrestled you many, many times. You're a very, very consummate performer. You know what you're doing in that ring. But I want to ask you, Your relationship, sometimes your mouth has always gotten you involved in situations. You're facing Bron Breakker, who's been the face of NXT. This guy brings it. I love what you just posted, that you have wrestled his uncle many times. But even when I think you said it, because I love NXT, I watch it every week, I think there was some hesitation and doubt in your voice, because you're emotionally invested, and basically defending what's right, which I cannot believe you're doing the right thing for your friend, because you've never done the right thing for any of your friends.
Well, so me and Vaughn started on the same day. We made a connection inside and outside the ring. We are very good friends. So I have payback for him. And like I told him last week, I know, see, I'm going into this match with absolutely nothing to lose. I know I'm going to get my ass kicked. Braun knows he's going to kick my ass, but that is to my advantage. Because again, I have nothing to lose. Braun has everything to lose. What if I beat him? What if that happened? Where would he go from there? If I lose, man, everyone knows I'm going to lose anyway. But if I win, wow. So like, I got the best opportunity in this thing.
Is it any stipulations in this match?
No, it's a one-on-one match, just straight up. And Braun is walking into a match with a guy that he thinks has no experience. He didn't do research on me. He doesn't pay attention to anything. He doesn't respect anyone that's been doing this for a long time. He probably doesn't even respect his own uncle and his father at this point. So he is taking this so lightly, Tommy.
Well, something that you used to do with me a lot, you would run out of the ring and make me chase you, and then you would usually sucker me into something because I'd be blown up from running. So I think it's part of that. Listen, for everybody listening, Mr. Stone is an accomplished pro wrestler who's been around a long, long time. And I want to see your performance, and I also want to see Breakker hurt you. But that's just me. That's because of my relationship with you.
I figured you would want that.
I actually think Mr. Stone has the advantage here, Tommy, because, Bron Breakker, very talented individual, but a bit of a meathead. And I think Mr. Stone is aware of that fact. Like, he's right. I don't think Bron Breakker right now is laughing. He's laughing, thinking he's going to get his hands on Mr. Stone just to beat the hell out of him. He doesn't do the research. He's not going, and finding these matches that he's had throughout his, like you said, 19-year career before getting to the WWE. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you this, Tommy. If I was a betting man, and you know that I am, I would open up my wallet and I would put money, if I had any, I would put money that Robert Stone is going to beat Bron Breakker night number 2 of Halloween Havoc on Tuesday, because I think he does have that advantage. I think you could say that Mr. Stone is a more accomplished technical wrestler than Bron Breakker. I think he's more intelligent than Bron Breakker. You just said something, Tommy, that's 100% true as well. He could run out of the ring. Bron Breakker will get winded at some point, and then Robert Stone will take advantage of that opportunity. So I think Robert Stone is going to win this match. And you know what? I think Bron Breakker, for what he's doing in NXT right now, needs to be humbled a little bit. So, Mr. Stone, you are the perfect person to do this on Tuesday, night number 2 of Halloween Havoc.
And thank you. And, I feel like the way you just got into it and the way you feel about Bron, about how he just needs someone to slap him, back into this world. Yep. I think a lot of people feel that same way. You had passion when you were just talking. I have passion when I'm talking about it. I feel this way. This guy needs to get his behind kicked, and it's going to happen Tuesday. Not to give up my game plan, but Tommy, you just said it. If I leave the ring, Dave, you called him a meathead. I guarantee that meathead's going to chase me. I'm a pretty smart guy, even though, a lot of people might not think so. Tommy might not think. I'm a pretty smart guy. I have a college degree. I was a school teacher at one point. I'm a smart guy, and I know exactly what I'm getting myself into. And I know exactly what I'm going to do in this match. And people are going to be, are going to be surprised by what happens.
When was your last actual match?
So I have, my last actual match was against Zion Quinn on NXT, but it was kind of impromptu. It wasn't scheduled. I also, I had a tag match with, against Dexter Loomis and Indy Hartwell. And then I also had a 2-on-1 match against me and Aaliyah against Rhea Ripley at Great American Bash a few years ago. So those were my matches. So there's only been one-on-one, but that wasn't even scheduled. I wasn't prepared for this. This is my first scheduled match in almost 5 years, and I am fully prepared. A lot of people say they're in the best shape of their life. I'm telling you, I am actually in the best shape of my life.
Have you been in the ring at the Performance Center working out?
I have not. And the reason why is because I don't need to. And it's not being cocky, it's being confident. I said before, it's like riding a bike. I know I'm going to step back in that ring when it's time to go, and I'm going to be able to go because I just got it like that.
You're not concerned with your wind?
I'm not, because but I own 4 F45 gyms. So between working out at F45 regularly and then I'm in the gym 6 days a week doing 2-a-days, I couldn't be in better shape. I am ready for this thing.
Interesting.
Tommy, I got to be honest with you. I don't like your tone in this interview, to be honest.
What are you talking about?
I was expecting it.
Excuse me. I'm asking serious questions. As Robbie knows, there is much different from being in ring shape as opposed to being in shape and having a match. And, when you're doing, I know the guy is in great shape. I know he's the modern day Jack LaLanne with all the gyms that he has, and he's working out all the time. But when you're bumping in his, whatever classes or cardio, you're not hitting a mat where air leaves your lungs, getting back up and having to do it again. I was asking a real question of, hey, you haven't been in the ring and you're facing a top level performer in the longest time.
And I do agree with that. It is a different animal, ring training, but here's how I look at it. The match was made official last Tuesday, so I had 1 week. In 1 week, I feel like I really couldn't make leaps and bounds as far as what I could do in the ring. So I'm just going to go with everything that's left in me for my career, everything in my heart. And I said it Tuesday, I'm really looking to get that one good shot on him, a punch, a slap, and then we're off to the races from there. We're just going to see what happens in this thing. But I'm telling you, I'm saying it again, people are going to be surprised by the outcome of this match.
Are you surprised that the fans are somewhat cheering for you?
How could they not? I mean, for me to call someone a scumbag is a pretty big thing. Mr. Stone has done a lot of things in that nature in his life. But for me to call Bron Breakker straight up, I'm saying I'm 100% positive that a lot of people feel that way, that he's a scumbag. I mean, I feel like everyone just wants to see him get put in his place. So why wouldn't they cheer for me? And hey, you know what? For what he did to Vaughn and my friendship with Vaughn, I'm kind of starting to like myself a lot better than I used to. I can look at myself in the mirror now and say I'm not that bad of a guy.
I agree with that. Plus he's Jersey. You could take the man out of Jersey, but you can't take Jersey out of the man. So, you're going to be representing New Jersey, the great state of New Jersey, when you step in the ring with Bron Breakker on Tuesday night.
It's like a fight on the boardwalk. It just happens,
That's right. You got this. Now, we had Nick Aldis on the show yesterday, and we talked about being the general manager, playing that role, and doing something. First of all, you're in the world of the WWE. That's a dream come true, but doing a role probably that you didn't expect that you're going to be doing. For you, Robert, and listen, like we talked about, being in the ring for as long as you did, some classic matches in other organizations, now being a manager, being more on the microphone than actually in the ring wrestling. Was that a change for you? Were you okay with that? Did you embrace it? Like, how did you feel knowing that your role was going to change once you became a part of NXT?
I think I was the perfect guy for the job. At the time, I was mid-30s. I just recently turned 40. So, at the time I was mid-30s. And we talked about earlier how physical this is and how physical wrestling is. And after I was doing it for 19 years, my body was beat up. So to be able to have a role where I'm still on TV, where I still get to be a character and have fun and be entertaining, it was a no-brainer for me. And you got to think now, my twins are older, I don't want to come home and be beat up when I want to play with them and do all kind of ride, but they're very active. I got to keep up with them. So it's been fun embracing something new. I'm also on our show NXT Level Up. I've done a little commentary. I've filled in for Byron Saxon when he's not here. I've commentated a few times. I'm really enjoying that. I am open to doing anything new that I could learn just to give me more hats to wear in this crazy industry.
I love it. I want to talk about NXT in general. A lot of buzz, a lot of momentum with NXT. I mean, more eyes on the product with NXT. What a great show this past Tuesday for night number 1 of Halloween Havoc. I think night number 2 is going to be even bigger and better, and a lot more surprises when we tune in next week on Tuesday. How proud are you to be a member of this team? And I say the word team, Robert, because, I've been around NXT just a little bit in a small way, and I just feel that team atmosphere. Just talk about the atmosphere and being a part of this brand.
I mean, it's something that's growing every week. The shows every week have been through the roof. And the fact that, men and women from Raw and SmackDown are coming down, how Becky Lynch has come down, it's just making everyone in the locker room so excited because they see these big stars come, they see what they've done, and they're like, wow, I want that. So it's making everyone work harder. And you talk about Halloween Havoc night 2. Night 1 was so good. What's cool about night 2 is, everyone on night 2 watch night 1 and they're all like, I want to even do better than that. So this week, everyone's going to even try and up their game to beat what night 1 was. So it's going to be crazy Tuesday.
Can you give us an update on Vaughn?
Well, if you saw last Tuesday, he's getting one foot in front of the other. He's moving slow. He's talking a little bit without a slur. It's getting better by the day. It's still going to be some time. And in my opinion, I'm not a doctor, but a lot of time until he'll be back in the ring competing, potentially, if ever. I don't even want to say that out loud, but he's getting better by the day, little by little.
What name your excitement level compared to maybe the level of nervousness stepping into the ring with Bron Breakker next week?
I've just cut off nervousness. There is none. I know I should be. I understand he's a former NXT World Champion and how strong and big he is. I get it all, but it's just like how I said, I decided to not train for it in the ring. I've cut off thinking about it. I'm not losing sleep about it. I've accepted it. I know it's happening and I'm going into this ready. Like, I want it to happen now. I'm frothing at the mouth for Tuesday. Like, can we do it now? I believe in myself, and man, I'm just daydreaming about it now. 5 days away. I'm ready for it. Yeah, let's do it.
Tommy, I want you to be honest. Tommy's like,
I laughed like that when I saw the picture he tweeted earlier today, where I'm smiling in midair.
Yes. I gave him an RKO and he was laughing and smiling like a crazy person.
And I'm still crazy. And that's why this match is happening Tuesday.
Do you remember when you just started just punching me for real in the corner? I hope you, and I say, why are you punching me, crazy man? Continue.
No, Tommy.
Do that against Bron Breakker.
No, don't do that. Tommy, Bron Breakker and Mr. Stone next week, Halloween Havoc night number 2. Who do you think is going to win that match? I want you to be honest here. Who do you think is winning that matchup next Tuesday?
I got to say, as long as I've known Robbie, now Mr. Stone, I got to say I don't really know Mr. Stone because the Robbie E person, I hung around for a long, long time. We were roommates. We used to do kettlebell workouts. But this Mr. Robert Stone, like I said, he's done the right thing for the first time since I've known him. He sounds like a normal human being. And he's also, I've never known him to be motivated in the sense of he was just kind of there as opposed to he's fighting for, I mean, listen, he was there ringside when his friend got taken out. And he's had a lot of acquaintances, a lot of friends, but this is a totally different person. I haven't seen him in forever, or talked to him. So originally I'd say I want to see Bron Breakker just destroy him. But this is a different person. So I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the match. If he destroys him, I'll just laugh. If he has a really, really good competitive match, or if he wins, I'll be like, wow, I didn't know this guy.
All right, so I'll ask my question again.
Because anything can happen in the world of the WWE.
Who do you think is going to win the match next Tuesday between Bron Breakker and Mr. Stone?
Bron Breakker.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Stone.
You know what? Can we have a wager, an on-air wager between
Okay.
you and I, Tommy? Because I am going with Mr. Stone. Now I want you to
Love
think.
it.
I know you are eyeing my Terry Funk vinyl album that I purchased from Japan.
Okay.
I will gladly give you that album if Bron
Wow.
Breakker wins on Tuesday.
Wow. That is a big one. Well, if
Well, what is Tommy going to give you?
I don't
I'll
know.
give you, I am currently a champion in another company. I'll give you a title shot. How about that?
You're going to give me a title shot at the digital
And
media
you could be the
championship?
king of the internet. How about that?
I'll take that bet.
Mr. Stone, I got to ask you, it would be to your advantage. That's why I asked about a stipulation. How come you don't go to Shawn Michaels and ask for it's Halloween Havoc? They have all those type of theme matches. It would be more for your advantage to have either Extreme Rules or something to give you a bigger assist, don't you think?
You know what, man? I just want to fight this guy.
Okay.
And it didn't matter where it was or what night it was or what show it was on, whether it ended up being on Halloween Havoc or not. He needs payback. I just want to fight him, and I want to use these. This is the one time. Normally, I would agree with you, but I want to fight this dude.
Give him a drop kick. Those are usually you put your white boots in people's faces. I've taken a few.
I was never a drop kick person. It's
Well,
hard
no,
for me.
yes.
I could do a Japanese drop kick. But
Yes, the one where you land on your back.
Exactly. That I
Yeah.
could do.
I've
That I will
taken
do.
it from you, and then you laughed because you hit me in my face with your boots. Thank you.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to Mr. Stone going up against Bron Breakker. Also, Ilya Dragunov is putting the NXT Championship on the line against Carmelo Hayes. Night number 2 of Halloween Havoc. Night number 1, Tommy, we talked about all show long yesterday. I have a feeling we're going to be doing the same thing with night number 2 again. Night number 2 of Halloween Havoc next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time on the USA Cable Network. And from one Jersey guy to another, Mr. Stone, good luck in that match with Bron Breakker.
Thank you.
You're my guy. You're my guy. So I know you're going to do well, and I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm not going to let you lose that Terry Funk album back there. I got you.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. And boy, I get a chance at that digital media championship that Tommy has. How about that?